Hey, folks. Yeah, so getting back into ye old game dev, at least streaming it. I've actually been doing quite a bit outside of streams. Something I want to check real quick is you can't do it in Streamlabs, but I want to see if I can adjust what game quote unquote that I'm playing, so that it is actually development. They don't let you do it from Steam. Oh, maybe under development? Interesting. We could try that. And there's like... Yeah, there we go. Get some tag in. Yeah. Okay. We'll try that. See how it goes. Bitrate looks pretty consistent, which is good. And I'm muted so I won't hear myself, which is also good. Okay, so let's go over where we are right now and kind of work from there and figure out what we need to do next. Although I have a fairly good idea, but you know, that's neither here nor there sometimes. You can see my mouse, correct? Yes. And then if I click into Visual Studio, you can see that. Awesome. Okay, just making sure. So first things first, we're going to go through sort of the mindset as I've been working on this and how I've been working on it. And basically what I've done is I've started with... Oh, good. I'm glad that you can hear. I've started with just sort of thinking about what I need as baselines for each stage of the development. And then I've made the tools that specifically handle that piece of development. Now, there may be some situations where there's a class that I've made that is currently a mono behavior, but it'll just become, for lack of a better term, a raw C# script. But for now, that is not the case. Sorry, I got distracted by something that I really shouldn't be. Okay, so yeah, start from the beginning. So basically I asked myself, what is the first thing that you want to be able to do in a game where you're building up some sort of building, some mansion, sort of some grid-based thing? Well, you need something to raycast with, because if you don't know where you're raycasting, you don't know where to build things. Like, it's obviously a problem. And so yeah, we have this raycaster. It's looking for a specific surface. If we set our let's open up our game manager. If we set our state to room building, which it's already on. I keep looking over here, but you're up here. And set it to that. If we click around, we'll find that we can indeed place buildings. And then, if we click on the same spot, we'll see that I've already worked that out. You can't put something where it already exists. Oh, one sec. Let's see if I can move my entire desk so maybe it'll stop shaking the camera. It over time, slowly, because our carpet's so thick, each time I move my chair, I slide the desk instead, which is kind of funny. Okay, so we've got this. We say to ourselves, all right, well, I now have built things, which if we've actually skipped ahead a bit, we did our raycasting, and we validated those raycasts, and from there, we used the room builder, which you just saw here, to build things. It's like, all right, well, now that I've built those things, you know, where do those go? Well, we'll put them inside the room container. That way they're all in one location so that our hierarchy doesn't get messy. Now, the end user, the player, will never notice this. It's completely invisible to them. But me, you know, I'll know. And it's kind of like when you're doing art or anything like that. Like, if you know about it, even if other people don't notice it, it still drives you nuts. So then from there, we've got this container. So what do? Well, now that we've made the rooms and they're contained somewhere, we want to be able to interact with them. Now we can go back to that, whoops. Now we go back to that game manager, and we can see here, in fact, we'll just snap it on here. We can see that it's currently set to room building, so we'll just go over and we'll switch it to play mode, because in play mode, that's where you'd be clicking on things. So now we're gonna click on this one. So we click on this room, and we find down in the debug logs that it has been selected. And because of that, we now have our game settings switched to room selected. So from this state, we now have a room selected. Well, what do we want to do with a room once we select it? You know, there's a few things you may want to do. We'll go over to the room editor. And currently, the one thing you can do is you can add a Moosecat to it. Well, then you say to yourself, well, geez there, buddy, if I want to add a Moosecat, I probably should be able to make one. And we go, ah, dang it, you caught me. And so then I go and I make the spawner. All right, we hit here. We got this button because we don't have any UI yet, so we do everything through the inspector. And so we hit spawn Moosecat. We can find that if we go into our scene view, and just coincidentally, it happens to be in the room that we have selected, but that's completely by coincidence. You'll notice that it's up here in the inspector, hasn't actually been put into the scene or contained anywhere. All right, well, now that we've got this Moosecat in the area, we'll go up to the room editor, and we'll just drag over, whoops, wrong thing. We'll drag over this Moosecat, add it to this little field, because again, we don't have a UI right now. We'll hit invoke, which sets off the add Moosecat function. And we say to ourselves, all right, well, let's go look at the state of the selected room, which we could have just clicked over there. But we see this room. This is that room at that position 0, 0. Or maybe it was actually this one that was 0, 0, but center, whatever. And this is the actual position of the one that we clicked. And we can look here and we see that indeed that Moosecat has been added to it. Awesome. All right. We now have the ability to raycast. We're validating those raycasts. We have the ability to build buildings or rooms. We have the ability to select rooms. We have the ability to edit those rooms. And from there, it's what can we do with these Moosecats that have been added to these rooms? Well, we could send them out on adventures. That's going to be one of the major game flow things. And so from there, we say to ourselves, all right, if we're going to send them out on adventures, well then I'm going to need some kind of selector. Because when you're in the UI, if you can imagine a UI in your head that has a bunch of adventures in it, you want to be able to select one of those adventures and edit it. So we have our selector. Whenever you click on one of those adventures, it will select it. In fact, we can go in and we're looking for an adventure here. We have one that has been made, and that's something that's in progress. So we can go here. We can invoke to select that adventure. And then if we go up to our adventure data, we'll find that we need to do a bit of work here so that there aren't two copies of the same adventure within adventure datas. And I recognize that the plural data is not datas. Just happens to be the naming conventions for while I'm coding. Add an S to something if it's more than one of that thing, and I just happen to call them adventure data. So, such is life, you know. Anyways, we can go to our selected adventure, and we can see that it is indeed that one that we just selected. Now, from there, we have our adventure editing, which we want to do. We now have that adventure selected, so we would say take the Moosecat that we've generated, and we would assign it to that selected adventure. And if we look, we can indeed see... Oh, no, we can't. We should fix that. So why didn't that... Oh, I know exactly why that happened. Okay, so remember when I said that there were two here? That is currently breaking it. So we're going to want to fix that. So let's add that to our brain boxes here. We want to fix the adding Moosecats to adventures. And then, as I was mentioning before, assuming you actually had it working properly, which clearly I didn't. This is like the original Xbox demo. You could be able to, or could set an adventure to progress. So now over a period of time, that adventure is going. And then after that, a period of time has run its course, you can see down here that it has completed. Some things are working. All right. And then once it's completed, I don't like this name, so I'll eventually rename it. But we have the adventure completer, which is when an adventure finishes, it will pump into this via the event system. And from there, it'll look at all the rewards that that adventure could give, and it'll give you whatever you've rolled, which eventually we'll need to add in weight tables and random ranges and things like that. But you get the baseline. The general idea here is we want to build the fundamental systems for this entire game flow. All right. That was a fun introduction. Now let's go back a little bit. We found that even though we have a selected adventure, when we added a Moosecat to it, let's grab it again. When we added this Moosecat to it, it did not work. So now we're going to glance at it one more time. All right. So there's also this that we need to fix. So we have two things that we need to fix. The first, or possibly second, is why this isn't adding. And then the other one is to fix this particular... There shouldn't be 2 copies of the same adventure. Now we're going to clear those out and back out here a little bit. And then after that, we're going to take care of the IO for adventures, I believe, because we actually do have, if we hit play, we actually do have a bit of a game loading. This is from a previous scene that I had made before you were looking. And you can see here that we've got a series of Moosecats, and they've all got their specific names, which are just random numbers. And we have our rooms. So now we could potentially go into our game manager. Yes, this does make sense because I clicked somewhere I shouldn't have. And that would have been, that was from room selected. If I click out here, I believe.
We'll figure that out later.
All right, so we'll set this to room building. We'll add an extra room here. And then we will click save. We see all the saving. And then we'll... And keep in mind, the colors of the rooms is completely random. That's intentional. Anyways, we load, and now we see that extra room over here. All the same Moosecats. They've got all their same names. That's all good. So anyways, let's step back. And what we found is we have 2 issues. The first is adventure data, or data, depending on where you are in the world. And as we can see here, we have a few issues. The first one is that this is not assigned. Let's fix that. And I want to make sure that never happens. So we'll keep an eye on that. The second is we have this empty entry. Now, how could that happen? Let's go look. So when the look here real quick. Okay. That's creating a new adventure, which is passing this adventure through. So we are going to go in here, and we're going to add in a debug log. And for the longest time, when I've been streaming these, I've been putting log format for string literals. You don't need to do that. So that's something that I had brought to my attention recently. I was like, oh, well, that saves me a few clicks. You know, better late than never on learning new things. Anyways, we're going to do our normal convention of name.toUpper so we can tell what object is talking to us. And then we're going to say that selected... Or actually, let's do it this way. Adventure selected. That should be sufficient. So now, when we are going through our test cases, we will see if the... Brain fart. We will see if it's being set to null at some point. And that'll help us fix that. I don't know why it would, but that's why you do these things. So what we're doing here is an adventure gets passed through. We search through the adventure data list of all the possible adventures. And if it is currently null, then we add it. And it should be creating a new adventure data that has the adventure set, and then, you know, an empty Moosecat field, progress is 0, status at dummy, and so on. Now, eventually this probably won't be needed because, actually, I don't really agree with my comment there, but it won't be needed in the future, likely because actually this list of adventures that you can have data in will just already have pre-filled out before a player even starts playing. There's no reason to necessarily add them as you're going along. Not that I can think of, at least. We'll find out. But now we want to go back and caught up. Okay. We want to go back and we're going to select an adventure. And the way that we do that is we go down here. We're going to go down and grab our one kind of adventure. We're going to invoke this. Now we see that Into the Great Woods was selected, which is good because that's what we want it to be. And we're going to check here and we see that indeed it has been selected. And we check the adventures data, we see indeed that it is here. So now when we hit play again, this should continue to persist. Not because it always will. If you're playing in Unity, this or playing in a actual built game, this data doesn't persist between games. But in the land of editors and working in Unity, it does. So now we have this, and we are going to... Oh, You know, no, I don't want to get ahead of myself. I think I have an idea of what may have happened with some of this, or maybe it's something that was edited. But regardless, we're going to hit play, and all good so far. Selected room is currently that. Is that happening from? Is our loader already trying to load adventures? I don't think so. No, not yet. Okay. Oh, no. Overwriting player data, adventure data. Okay, we're getting somewhere here. Oh, no. There it is. No, we're not getting somewhere. Interesting. Perplexing. Well, we're going to select our adventure again. And go from there. Okay. Into the Great Woods is selected. There's only one. And I go down here. Okay. Meh. You know, I don't know. We'll just keep an eye on it. All right, so that is good. Now we're gonna add a Moosecat. So let's spawn one. Welcome, buddy. All right, go down here to the editor. Drop that Moosecat in. Invoke. I should probably add a debug log there of some kind. I have one when things go wrong, and here you can see me doing that format when I don't need to. We have the Moosecat.name has been added to adventure. Oh, value.adventure. Okay, and that's not an error. That's a good thing, theoretically. All right, and we'll double check real quick that it was not added. It was not. And I think it's a null check that I just need to fix. Because clearly my brain is not all there. Oh, that's selected room. No wonder I got confused before. Selected adventure. Okay. So it's still selected because it's a scriptable object. Obviously, that's something that I would have to keep in mind while I am debugging. Or I could just add an init to fix it. Who knows? All right, so we will add this. Invoke. Says that clone has been added to the the adventure. We clearly see that it hasn't. And so then we go in here and we check. So it's, what's the party count set at? Yeah, okay, that'll do it. All right, so we actually need to add a debug here. I herped when I should have derped. Okay, so we need to adjust. Does this even have a name? Because it's a class. Don't think so. I think we can just two-string it, though. Name can be simplified. Oh, my. Be still my heart. Okay, I suppose. Party is full. Moosecat addition failed. And we can make that a log warning. You know what? We're going to live on the wild side. And hey, I can see myself in my own stream. What we want to do here is we want to edit this. We're going to set it to 1 for now. We're going to hit play. Go into our adventure selector. Well, first our Moosecat spawner. Add that Moosecat. Hit invoke. Does it not have a name? No, it has a name. Oh, what's this going on here? Oh, interesting. Howdy. Hope life is treating you well. Okay, so we see that the selected adventure appears to be currently... It's not null. Interesting. No, it is not. Okay, so selected adventure, but it still didn't add... Oh, I'm a numpty. I see what I did there. What we actually meant to do was go down to the editor and add it there. Invoke. Now. Hey, there we go. Okay, so we have solved that great mystery. And we're going to move on to the next one. Which was, it wasn't a mystery actually, it was just us taking care of I.O. So now we would want this to save and load, which we currently, let's go look at our code. And yeah, if I said that very quickly, DV Satire, nice to see you. Hope life's treating you well. I tend to run very fast while I'm working on stuff. Well, ideally, once it's done, it is a game where you will be building a mansion, and possibly some more stuff outside of it, which I guess I can show you real quick while I'm talking about it. But obviously it's all developer art and stuff right now, but it's going to be a game where you... oh, where's that building? Perfect. Where you'll be building some kind of mansion. And inside of there, you're going to be collecting these little critters that we call Moosecats. Obviously this one kind of hanging out in the grass, probably being fairly mischievous. You'll be collecting these cats, putting them in the rooms, and then you can send those cats out on adventures to get back more materials, more cats, other stuff, and use that to build more on the mansion. And then outside of that, there may be some extra side content in the actual manor itself. Ooh, interesting. I'm like turning green myself. Oh, weird. This song sounds a whole lot like... Oh, that's because it's literally from Kingdom Hearts. We'll skip ahead because Disney scares me. But yeah, that's the gist of it. Fairly simple game, sort of fairly simple loop. So we're currently just going through and finishing up the vertical slice stuff. And then from there, we will go in and take care of the... Oh, so it's an issue in my inspector window. And then from there, we will go in and start adding actual content, doing some video streams of me faffing about in Blender and stuff like that. Alright. So we'll stop playing, and now we need to take care of the saving and loading. So obviously, as you can see, once the game stops, we no longer have a reference to that cat, and the reason for that is an object that lives in the scene, and once the scene is unloaded, obviously that thing isn't there anymore. So let's go back to our loader. And we made a note here that after the room is loaded, we need to go through and add all the Moosecats. This is true. Oh, excuse me. Oh my goodness. So now we just need to think about how we're going to do that. I suppose the easiest way would be when setting... There's a few options here. We could save the names of the cats in the adventure data, or we could have the adventure that the cat is on saved in the cat. Both perfectly viable. Oh, well, I appreciate that. I've been trying to figure out all the tag stuff. If there's one thing I'm terrible at, it's the figuring out the algorithm on anything. Like, it's all beyond me. But yeah, definitely appreciate that. Okay, so you scored the SO, yes. You passed me, rather. That was definitely correct. So let's go look at our Moosecat data and our adventure data. So our adventure data currently contains the cats themselves. Yeah, good day to you. The cats themselves need to leave an identifying value with the room, which I think they would if it was prefab. So name would not be sufficient, but if we created a hash or something similar of the name with the Moosecat, that would be unique. Maybe hash the critter itself. Yes. This is sort of excessive, but I like this plan. Alright. Let me go find this real quick. I can only assume that this is not a native... Yeah, that's just animator stuff. Okay. So I'm just doing what every developer does and keeps a secret, and I am Googling. Is that the case? Let's see. Oh! Woo! Oh, almost died from that excitement. Okay. Yeah, this will be perfect. So what we're gonna do is we can either save this as a separate list, or we can create a cache. Cache? That is almost what I was trying to say. Or we can make a class that includes the cat itself and its hash. And I'm thinking for a moment here. It is entirely possible. Let's go do a save real quick and see what data we get with our adventures. I have it JSONing out, but I do not recall. Adventures currently got a null cat in it. Actually, yeah, let's add a cat real quick. And we'll add a couple. I'm feeling generous. Add that one and that one. And then if we hit save, which will override all our rooms, we see that it does get the instances of the cats, but these are just the instances. This is not the actual cat data. So yeah, we would probably want to save something akin to their hashes. And when we're adding them, they're just being added and removed in these sections. Yes. And the cats themselves, I don't have to hit that too much. Not super complicated. What game is this? Ah, I thought so. I was gonna say it sounds like Command and Conquer. Alright. So my general process these days is that the path of least resistance is the best path to go with. That way you actually finish the work, and then later you can come back, and if you see that there's a better way to accomplish what you've done, then you can do that. So what we're going to actually do here is we are going to say, we're going to call this the active adventure. And this value, we'll serialize it. What the heck? This value is going to be updated when the Moosecat is added to the adventure. And similarly, when the cat is removed, we will make this null when that happens. So, public void set Moosecat to adventure, and you can pass through adventure. That would be a value, and then whoa, this dot active adventure equals adventure. Now you might ask yourself, why am I calling it active adventure in the Moosecat file? And the reason for that is that I want to remember what this value means to me. And yeah, you can leave a comment, and that's what I'm about to do. Excuse me. But it's also nice to kind of intuitively remember what something does. So we're going to say, this is the adventure this Moosecat is currently assigned to, will be null if no adventure currently in progress. This also means that when we go to do the UI that shows the list of available Moosecats, we could just create a simple Boolean of either active adventure equals null, or we can make it a Boolean here where it'd be, let's say, public bool Moosecat is available, and then the getter would be active adventure equals null equals null, because if you just do equals with 1, you're gonna troll yourself, as I have seen in recent memory. Not to say I haven't done it, I'm just saying, you know, I have seen that it is something you can definitely do. And then what I'm doing here, this is something that I don't necessarily know how many people like to do it, but I'm a huge fan of quarantining off values that I want to save from the process that actually edits them. And I find that when I do that, it makes it so much easier for my brain to keep track of what interacts with what. And the more I do this stuff, the more I'm actually not a fan of things like protected. And what's the other one that I'm forgetting the name of because I don't care about it so much? Function serve. Whoops. C#, please. Let's see. Maybe I'll find them later because I'm missing it. But basically, if I were to give you any bit of advice, and if you were to make the classic mistake of taking it, really 99% of the things you'll ever do, assuming you don't want to over-engineer things, could just be done with private and public. I think a lot of the other things that people do is just over-engineering for the sake of showing off and circle jerking with their friends. Honestly, that's, if you do get into this sort of thing professionally, that's going to be the vast majority of your experiences as you get to the higher and higher levels of engineers, is they're more vain and they have much stronger feelings about what works. To me, if you want to use protected, go for it. If you want to seal off functions, go for it. I just think an intuitive coding flow will work just as well. Making it this obtuse spider's web of nonsense just because you learned it in college is not super helpful to anyone, to me. But yeah, that's just my 2 cents. It's come up a few times in conversations where I'm just like, why are we doing this? It's like, well, because, it's the thing all the cool kids do. Like, okay. I mean, does it help us in any way? If you were to show it to a tester or just a new person, would they be able to quickly read it? No, that's what training's for. Like, do you really need to be designing things in such a way that you need to train people just to use it? Like, seems awful. Especially if someday that person that's coming back to the code is you, and you're now a different person with a different coding style and stuff, and now you gotta learn it again. You look at your stuff, you're like, what did I think? What was I thinking when I did this? I don't remember. So, with that rant out of the way, let's test our system. Wait, we literally can't because we haven't hooked it up in the function yet. Got too busy ranting, not busy enough actually doing the work. Okay, so the adventure data. And to be clear, the difference between these two things, an adventure and an adventure data, is that these are what you're storing. Everything that is something data is the things that I'm saving to IO and recovering from IO. So very easy. Whether or not it should have had some other name, I don't know, but I have a coworker who has said before that it doesn't matter what your naming conventions are, as long as you have them and you stick to them. So that's what I'm doing, even as I've been constantly typing datas and just knowing that at some point someone's going to see it and be like, why? But it is what it is. All right. Okay. We're going to add another warning here. Already in adventure. And then down here, we're going to say Moosecat.set to adventure. And we're just going to do adventure, I think. Is that correct? Yes, it is. Fantastico. And then we're going to go down here. We're going to say Moosecat.set to adventure. We're actually going to pass through null. And just because null means there is no adventure. And let's make a note here for future us. Okay. We now have a piece of information that we can then go over to our data loader, and we can say, for each Moosecat, they've all been spawned. So now you have all your Moosecats spawned. And they have their data structure going through, which... Oh, this is amazing. Apparently this is from Mario Kart? Sure, okay. This is throwing me off. So we know that the Moosecats are being populated, and now they've got their adventures on them. So now we just need to iterate through all of them and add them to the appropriate adventures. So we're gonna go in here and we're gonna do this. Oh, this is too good. I'm gonna have to cut it because it's throwing off my brain. Okay, there we go. That's much better. So we take our data and we have our add Moosecat. So we're going to grab our adventure and we're going to get a list of Moosecats. We could probably do it as an array, but we're not going to, just to spite people. So list Moosecat. That's what loading bars are for. Who needs optimizations? And player data dot moosecat data dot moosecats dot find a Moosecat where that Moosecat dot adventure equals this value. And then let's see, what are you complaining about exactly? Oh, find all. Find all. So, and then is this actually coming back as an array? If so, I guess we'll just data. Okay, that's fine. That makes sense. That makes total sense. I don't know why I didn't. Oh wait, no, it doesn't. Hold on. Huh? Sure. All right. So now we have a list of. Here, we're gonna do it. We're gonna do it. Moosecat. Oh, datas. Just to really throw it on, double plural. And actually, no, we really don't want to do it that way because the adventure data is just using the structure or the object Moosecat. So we'll just find all of those cats. Let's not reinvent the wheel. So we could select, I think. Oh my goodness, I haven't done this in so long. Do we have a link on here? Using. Okay. Heaven help us. We're going in. Select many. No, it's find all. It's been so long since I've used this, so we're gonna get back in this together. Literally typing out what I'm looking for real quick. I've done this before, but it's been so desperately long. I know it's select. Weird, I got a electrical feedback in my headphones just now. That was not nice. I think these headphones in general, though, are probably going out. They're much more sensitive to feedback than my person.name. Find each person's name. There we go. So this gives us a list. And then from there, we are selecting... Oh, we'll just say... data. And the reason for that is we want to find... this cat... Then I'm gonna... let's see... Cannot convert systems collections generic enumerable. Oh dear. Let's see if I can fix that. Oh yeah, my cable is fraying. Huh. That is unfortunate. And then now... Oh, we could just... What am I doing? There we go. I'm gonna admit that's horrendous looking, so I'll probably fix that up later. But we're just gonna plug away. And the way we're plugging away is this way. All right. So we're gonna try that. And we just need to add a few Moosecats to our adventure. Oh yeah, sure. Okay, fair enough. Now fix this real quick. It's actually over here. If I turn that up, will that fix the... Wow, that was some wild focus. It's pretty bright, but I'll take it. Okay, so we're gonna flip headphones, because if I have to listen to this buzzing for too much longer, I'm gonna lose my gosh dang mind. And that wouldn't be nice for me. Probably be amusing for everyone else, but we're gonna switch to a long AF cord, because the one that comes with my nicer Sony headphones is desperately short. It's like they expect you to be within a distance of your sound or something. How silly is that? Who really does that these days? It's all about keeping everything inconveniently far away. Okay. Now, theory. L for left. All right. Oh yeah. Oh, that's way better. Who knew that paying 4 or 5 times more for a pair of headphones that they could sound better? That's really shocking. I mean, I guess if I'd gotten some Beats or something, it wouldn't necessarily be the case. Let's get that cable flipped over a little bit. All right. Okay, well, welcome back, I suppose. Let me fix my webcam. Maybe. Suppose we'll see. I'll give it some time. But where were we? I believe we were dealing with the I/O before my stream just totally died. And unstable, huh? Poor network connection. Well, that's no good. Oh, it's weird. It says it on that end. It doesn't say it on this end. Okay, well, we'll just YOLO and see where we go from there, yeah? This. Does it see my camera? Doesn't look like it, so there we go. Give it the old off and on. Okay, well, guess that's that for now. We'll just chug along and test our stuff. And I will be a ghost. Alright, so, where were we? We were going to make sure that adventures saved properly. In order to do that, we're going to select an adventure. currently have one. Had a Invisimoose in it, which is less than ideal. We're going to create, let's say three Moosecats. Currently, they've got no adventure hooked up to them. That's fine. And hit F5 and see if it still says unstable. Yeah, there we go. Excellent. Okay. Very weird. Whatever. I don't know. Don't care. I mean, I do care. Obviously, I wouldn't be looking otherwise. But, you know. Now we're going to add these pitches. In fact, we actually can only add one because you'll see here, party is full. And interesting to note. Oh yeah, we should just get rid of this message here. Or actually, tempting to be added to. Anyways, so now we'll check the selected adventure, which is up here. And we find that it's got this clone. This clone's name is this. We'll just now change it to I loaded. All right. From there, we will give it the old savey wavy. Stop. Reload. We'll go in, check our selected adventure. We see it's currently got this null guy. We'll get rid of that. And then we'll also try it with it being there like that and see if we can fix those. Shouldn't be too hard, frankly. All right. We're gonna load the data. We see we got our 3 here. Noting that I think I changed the name before I saved, which wasn't the smartest, but... And we see here that there are 2 nun cats, which may very well come from my loading work. Which is fine. Need to think for a moment. Okay. And we got those 3, and they have... Oh yeah, and they have their nun adventures, so their adventures did not save. Okay. So let's try this again. You'll notice these ones are clearing properly because I actually put a nits on them. I just need to go through and do that on the other stuff. Right. So, we will create a cat. We're going to name it I loaded. Or, you know what? Whatever. I loaded. That's fine. We'll go down to our adventure selector. Check all there. We're going to edit. Grab this cat right over here. Invoke. Check our adventure. Got him. Check. Hello, dude. Save. Now we see our cat here, although we will note that while we changed its name on this, on the Moosecat script, the actual Moosecat data did not update. And that makes sense because that's not how that works. And I'm feeling silly that I forgot. So we'll save one more time. We see our ILO dude. And down here we can see this adventure has a couple adventures on it. One of them looks broken. Oh, that's the only one. Oh, right, that's a selected adventure. That's null data basically for us. We don't actually want to use it. In fact, that loading again may be what broke us before, and that's why we had a none there. Okay. Got a cat, and then the cat itself has the adventure assigned, so we're gonna stop playing. Play again. Load. Look at our cat. So our cat does have its name, but it doesn't have an adventure assigned to it. So that tells us that in the data structure, the adventure is not being saved or not being loaded. Let's come back here and look. That's fine. Go back to our loader. And we do the spawn Moosecat request where we send through Moosecat data. And if we go and look at our on spawn, What do we call it? Here we go. So we look at our spawner, and we know that this is doing the spawn Moosecat. And when it spawns the Moosecat, it's doing that, setting a name, instantiating. Ah, down here is where it should be happening. We're going to check real quick, debug.log. But you know, we definitely know that it's happening. But what we have here is the data comes through. We spawn one, we set its name, we instantiate it. And we assign the Moosecat to it. So far, so good. Let's do a breakpoint. For this session, please. That's cute. What's this from? Ah, Black Flag, huh? Okay. Okay, that took a little bit longer than I would have liked it to. Spawn. We could probably fix this to actually update its data whenever I type in it, but I'm not going to worry about that for now. Go in. I loaded. Go down to our editor. Info. Oh, right, we need to actually clear out that adventure. Oh, interesting. Oh. Wait a minute. Oh. Interesting. So while selected adventure is being updated, the actual core, even though this should be... Ah. Oh, very interesting. So if we were to assign the cat here, I'm willing to bet, not very much, but I'm willing to bet that that's where we're getting got. Ah. It's not a big deal. It'll be easy to fix. And this is kind of what I meant before. You just move forward, and then once you find a flaw, you go through and you fix it, right? I just hadn't considered that. Which is part of being human, I suppose. Okay, so we see that there's a cat in there. Oh, that's a nice little relaxing song. Okay, so we've saved. We'll close. We'll load. Load our data. Ooh. Oh, wait. We hit a breakpoint. Not so interesting. Okay, so we're going to actually breakpoint here as well. We'll look at our data structure. Adventure is null. But we are passing through here at least. So that makes sense. And when we go back to our... I'm going to assign it one more time. Let's look at our Moosecat's data. Ah, it's just saving an instance ID, which is not inherently useful because that instance ID might change. So what it actually needs to save is something akin to the name, probably. Ah. Very interesting. Okay. So this is fine. And these are similar situation where they get assigned, but we don't want them getting serialized. So we don't actually want this getting serialized eventually. Let's look at our adventures. They currently have a title, which I suppose is what we can actually go from for this for now. So if we did, we're just gonna do it as a test case here. And we're gonna say adventure title equals equals value dot name. Okay. And then over in the loader, we're actually going to say where title equals that. And that should work in my favorite kind of world, which is the theoretical world. Generally, the real world is less convenient, but you know, you get what you get, and you work with that. So we've got our adventure, or sorry, our Moosecat. That I just realized I didn't save that file, did I? Oh no, it's under the data, right? That's totally fine. These values are just for display. In fact, this could move, and it will almost certainly move to the Moosecat data in a moment here. We check here. We see that it's currently not set to an adventure. We drop it in. Add it. We'll go look. Right. Let me get rid of that. Try that again. And we'll go check. Right. Oh, I set the adventure in progress. My bad. Okay. So now he's added. There. Check our data structure. Oh, interesting. That's 328581. Interesting. Was assigned. Oh, okay. That is almost certainly what's actually the problem. Oh, real quick. Save. Okay, that looks good. I'll run it. Okay, that's all good. This is an oopsie on my part, but that's a good sign. Okay, tree, but not what I'm looking for right now. Apparently Mega Man. Accurate, but not what I'm looking for. Ooh, edgy. Okay. Hit that loader. Oh, because it's actually trying to add to the proper place. Okay. We go check the adventures data. Oh, because when it initializes it with the empty... Ah, right. Okay, so this is... I.O. is always a pain in the ass. And this is no exception. Okay, so we need to actually do a couple things here. Adventure data.moosecat is new. And this is not a mistake, although it's probably not going to let us do it. So we need to... Is there an attribute to tell something not to say to JSON? Oh, interesting. JSON... Let's see. Quick refactor. That may not... We're not using Newtonsoft necessarily, we're using Unity. Okay, so we're gonna check real quick. See if anyone has it for Unity. Oh, interesting. Does that still does that still show in the inspector window? It does. No, it doesn't. Okay. Ooh, itchy. Yeah, we'll just do that for now. So we'll just do... Yeah. And we'll put a to-do on there, so my favorite. That allows us to clear the list, and then we'll add to it. Eventually, once we turn those into properties, they won't serialize anyways. But you want to finish your work before you're actually doing that. Alright, so go back and look, and we see that indeed... oh, did I save the prefab instead of the critter? I may have. Because you'll notice when we click here, it's going down to this instead of this one. And it should say clone here. So... And this is because... We go over to Moosecat's data. Oh, this is all correct. Which is good, I suppose. Ah, yeah, we edited the prefab. Okay. Annoying. So then that suggests that this is pointing to the wrong location. from the spawner. Oh, I see it. Yes. Okay. Dag nabbit. Alright. So, in fact, I think these might both be wrong, but basically, this is not what we want to save here. So this should actually say, or actually similar, we could do instantiate Moosecat, or sorry, instantiate this, there. So that will actually work. This actually may be the source of most of my woes right now. So you may have just been watching me fix a non-bug. Which, you know what? That's fine. Sometimes things trick you. I do not actually mind all that much. Want to try something real quick. Itchy jingle. Hey, I'm back. Cool. Funny, I can't even tell that, like, my green screen is on necessarily because I'm in front of green. Alright, so now when we load our data, oh my soul. Oh, I bet you. Let's go back a little bit here. Oh, good gravy. One little goof. I bet there was somebody that'll watch this someday in the future and will just be yelling at the screen because they already know what's wrong. But that's your fault. You should have been here earlier. Not my fault for being an idiot. Okay. This is all good. Now, we'll just do it by adventure. And we'll hit play. Give it the old loady load. Oh, okay. Okay. I should have noticed that the instance ID was always the same. Oh well. Oh well. That's fixed now. And then we have a separate Moosecat that is in our data. Nope. Whoop. Nope. I think I know what's going on here. Okay, so yes. Ugh. Ugh. All right. Loading with the adventure on it. This is updating properly. This is not. So what we need to do... Oh, wait. Technically, this should actually be blank right now. We're still good. We're still good. It's still all right, Homer. We just need to set selected adventure to null when this field emits. shrink this because I'm getting lost. Alright, so public void init. And we need to set selected adventure dot value dot adventure equals null. Oh, are you gonna update? Oh, okay. I went one layer too deep. Okay, so this will clear that. Okay. And... because yeah, you haven't selected anything once you've loaded up the game. And then that should be cleared. Oh, Bob. Yeah, okay. Dot, Moosecat. There. Okay, and then we can get rid of that. That shouldn't be in here. That's not what that's doing. And yes, eventually those should be some kind of interface that's like initializable or whatever. But it's just me working on this thing, so doesn't really matter. Okay, so why is that a null reference? Which one? Oh. You know? Touche. Touche. We're gonna act like I saw that. Okay. Now we'll check our adventure data, nice and cleared. We'll check our selected adventure, nice and null. And then we will go in and hit load. Okay, so it did fail, but we just need to play the Thinky Thinky game. Because when it saved with stuff, but each of the adventure data should have been cleared on reopen, which we're looking. They did. So then when we hit load, they now have an empty reference. So we just need to go in. First things first, check our adventure. It is the right party count. And then we need to see what is being added to it here. Because if we go backward, we can check the stack trace. Load data, load data. Oh, worth noting. Did I totally remove? I did. That's fine, we can fix that. While we're at it, debug.log. Just so we can see what the number is. I'm assuming it's 1 because there's only the 1 in the thing, but okay, it's just 1. Okay, so that's fine. So by the time that it gets added to the adventure. The adventure already has one in it, and we can confirm that by any number of ways, but I'm just going to do it real quick by disabling the add. Yep, okay, so that's there. So now we need to go in and... So... Oh, right! The whole reason we were doing that right here was because of the serialization process. Right, okay. So we actually will still do that here as well. Totally fine. It is what it is. And indeed, later, we probably don't even need to store this data. We're effectively storing the Moosecat data in two different places, because the Moosecat knows what adventure it was on, and the adventure knows what Moosecats it was on. We could probably section off so only one of them cares about this stuff in the future, which would probably be the cats themselves. Because right here, after they spawn, we could just physically update their information. And yeah, we'll think about it in the future. That's a how question, and I don't have energy for that right now. What if I make you... Okay. Just trying to get rid of that annoying little green line. Alright, so... Layers it here. Load here. All good. Select the adventure is blank. We go down to adventure selector. Oops. And we select this one. Then if we go look at it, we see that it is correctly assigned. Obviously, the cats for it are blank. And I don't think this is... Oh, wait. Okay. We're passing it right now by value. We're not passing it by reference. Tack that, or I guess it'd be over here. Tack that to the things I need to do in the future. Okay, so for the most part, we've got the areas that matter. Obviously, this is, again, something we need to fix. We've got the areas that matter mostly squared away. So let's really quick delete this one. We're gonna hit save. This one's got doorbells in it. Okay, load. Okay, there's just one. So it may have been me editing things at runtime. Or... Caught. Okay. Let's fix that. So right now we are looking where... So I suppose what we should do for now is actually compare names. String lookups aren't the most efficient thing in the world, but... It's, again, something that's player done, and it'll be very infrequent. So we'll load. Got that. Select that one. Oh! So I did not actually find it. And now we get to play the Y game. So Into the Great Woods was selected. Oh. Why? Why did I do it like that? Very weird. I must have been tired that day. Okay, so this is all cleared. Load that. Bug. Load that in. See this? Select. Pop that. Invoke. And then if we check our selected adventure. Oh! Correctamundo. And then... Oh, now it's... Apparently I've had that wrong this whole time too. Okay. Well then. We've fixed more than I was expecting to fix. What else? I may have to go back through and see what else is going on. Yeah, that was pretty efficient use of my time, I think. Overall, fairly pleased with that. There's some edge case things that I want to make tickets for. Once I know that adding and removing Moosecats from adventures is working rock solid, I'll switch it over to a property so that it doesn't serialize to JSON. Yes. I think that's about it. Gonna have to splice these two videos together because network or something went down in between them, but thank you for watching. Thanks again to Devious for showing up and supporting random ass people who are doing development stuff. That's always nice. I will kill you, bug. Yes, that's what we'll end on. I'm going to kill that bug.